This is my grandfather Walter, and he likes to read Reddit stories.
First of all, the obligatory English is not my first language, given that a few weeks ago my brother gave his girlfriend, now fiancée, a wedding ring. The thing is, the ring I gave my now wife is smaller, about half the size. It's not because I didn't want to give her something better or bigger, but I wasn't in the best economic situation. When I presented my situation to her, she said she didn't care and just wanted to get married. Even though I made an effort to buy the best quality diamond I could, and even made the effort to buy a bigger diamond than the ring originally had. On my brother's side, an aunt was renewing her vows, so my uncle gave her an even bigger ring. She generously sold him her old ring at an extra low price to help my brother, who, by this time I was already several months married, so I don't think there was any favoritism for him. It was just luck and timing. Given all of this, since my brother got engaged, my wife has been making passive-aggressive comments about favoritism, how my family doesn't give her the best of the best like they do for the other woman. I've tried to reason with her to no avail. It's an everyday argument that really hurts me. It took me a lot of effort to get her that ring, but I tried to understand. I asked her for patience, a maximum of 1 year. I said, of course, I'll change the diamond for a bigger one, but right now I'm recovering from a rough time. However, I see her as my priority, so I'm okay with that. The only problem is that the arguments and comments don't stop. She insists on favoritism from my aunt to my brother, as if my aunt couldn't sell her stuff to whoever she wants, and as if I could have made her sell it to me before. This happens every day and I'm tired. Today she shared a picture on Facebook of a hen soup with a hen leg and a tiny wedding ring on its toe, comparing that ring to hers. When she got home, she showed me the picture, laughing and making fun of me. I saw red. She publicly humiliated me for something I cannot control. I told her that I won't tolerate this behavior anymore, even though I've tolerated it for a couple of months now. But enough is enough. I told her that this way of treating people will lead her to die alone, and I was extra patient because I loved her. However, I have to love myself first. She said I'm being an immature jerk and that I'm naive for not seeing how I'm being treated poorly by everyone except her, so I left. She has called me a couple of times, but I don't want to say more hurtful things. I'm tired of that, but right now I'm thinking I may have been overreacting. I don't care if no one sees this. I just want to vent. So, am I the idiot? Edit. Just because after reading this again, I think I put myself as a saint and my wife as a demon. We're not. I told her what I told her because I knew this is something she is insecure about, and it would hurt her. I didn't even raise my voice. I just looked her dead in the eye and said it. She didn't respond. She just looked at me. Additionally, she's dealing with anxiety and tends to think people around her want to do harm or betray her. But I've been dealing with depression and anxiety too for a couple of years now, and I've never used that as an excuse. I take my meds, which helps, but it still feels like a little hell in my head that I've learned to live with, so I may understand her a bit. Mental illnesses suck. Everyone is different and we cope differently with our internal pain. I never thought I was in the wrong about the argument, but for what I told her after, I promised I'll be with her and love her until one of us dies. After I told her she'll be alone forever and no one will tolerate her behavior until she dies, I felt like poop. Now, here are the comments. Comment 1. Your wife is petty and grasping. I can understand being a little hurt that an aunt chose to honor your brother's wife over her, but then she let it go. Instead, she's blaming you and mocking you publicly for it. That is so not okay. She is the immature one. I've been married for 22 years, and we place so little importance on rings that neither of us wears ours anymore. It just doesn't matter. We couldn't afford big diamonds when we got engaged, and I didn't even want a diamond once we earned more money. Instead, we have prioritized our family, our 2 kids, and our experiences. Great vacations over the years. I don't know where in the world you live, but does your wife hold a job? Isn't it her responsibility to make sure that your family has what it needs too? And rings aren't very high up anyone's priority list when there are economic situations to consider. It seems like your wife needs a firm dose of reality, not the idiot. Comment 2. No, you're not the idiot. Your wife married you, not the ring, not your aunt, not your brother. If she's not happy with the ring, that's her problem. The ring was symbolic of your love, and all the time you've been married is the proof the ring is meaningless now. If she's so unhappy with the ring, then she should return it and find someone else to tolerate her nonsense. Apparently she's so shallow that nothing matters but a piece of jewellery, not her husband and not her marriage. Or she should shut up and stop making nothing into a big problem because of her selfishness. I'd be really angry if this were my wife. Our marriage isn't about my aunt or a rock, and if that's what she thought it was, I'd realize my marriage was worthless. Your wife needs to get her head on straight and her priorities in order. Comment 3. Not the idiot. She's jealous and just showed her ass to the world. She also doesn't seem to care how much she is hurting you with this crap. She is more focused on a material item than her life partner. That is not good. You might want to take a closer look at how she views other material things in life over the people in it. Also prepare for this if your brother's wedding is in any way deemed bigger, more expensive, and the life. Followed by the home he purchases. The list goes on. You are in for a really difficult time if she doesn't start seeing how wrong and unfair she is being. Now, for the next story. In his prior relationship, his ex told him the child may not be his. The ex allegedly tested the other guy and it came back negative. My significant other was never tested and is just taking his ex's word for it. I feel like the idiot for bringing it up, but he always has an excuse on not getting it done. We have discussed our future plans together and spending our lives together, and getting the test has been spoken about multiple times over the last 2 years, with him saying he is going to do it over and over again, and then he is waiting on court, but now that has passed and nothing. I just feel some type of way that he is not making the best decisions for himself, how that will affect me in the future. Am I the idiot? Edit. Thank you for all your responses. Some are very helpful, some are full of assumptions. Either way, I appreciate it. Not that I thought I needed to include this, but here it goes. Anyways, I love his daughter, and I treat her as my own, period, point blank. I would never show resentment towards any child at all. I love children. I'm not forcing or coercing or controlling him. He told me about the situation with paternity first, stating he wanted the truth. I had no idea of other possibilities. This is something that he brings up to me as well. He states he wants this done and how it is causing him stress because the other alleged guy is still in her life and she also calls him dad. Now, here are the comments. Comment 1. Let's be perfectly honest here. You're hoping that he gets it and it comes back negative. That way, any potential kids you have with him will have all his resources and attention. You do not care about this other child. You do not care about whether or not you are trying to sever them from their father figure. You do not care about what sort of guilt or negative feelings you might be inflicting on this man you claim to love. What you care about is yourself and what you want. This is, well, natural, but not in a good way. It's natural in an unthinking, instinctual, animal sort of way. That voice in your head telling you that this might be wrong, that's what little humanity you have screaming at you, not to be a freaking animal about this, to listen to the tiny scrap of empathy that separates you from a freaking crocodile. Listen to that voice. It is the thread you are hanging by. It's the last flickering indication that you might be salvageable. Of course you are the idiot. Jesus freaking Christ, how do you even need to ask this? Comment 2. How old is the child? What do you expect him to do if the child is not biologically his? Why does this matter so much to you? Edit. You are the idiot. The child is 4. Your significant other is the father. He has raised that child for the last 4 years, and he's actually an active parent with every other weekend custody. You can't just have DNA erase the past 5 years of pregnancy and raising and loving the kid because you don't want to be in a blended family and because he has to pay child support. You sound selfish and immature. You should break up with your significant other. You're not made to be in a blended family, and you're going to make everybody miserable because you think biology matters when it comes to family. Your significant other does not want to know because it does not matter to him. Now, if your significant other puts on you the responsibility of raising the child and paying child support for him, that's an entire different story. Comment 3. I had a friend who was going through a divorce. His wife had cheated at the time of conception. He still signed the birth certificate. He spent 3 more years raising his son and daughter, hers from a previous marriage, before she left him again, for another man. He had the DNA test done. He was not the father. The state held him not responsible for any alimony or child support. They terminated his parental rights. He offered in the divorce settlement to pay her $400 a month in child support, just to stay in both kids' lives, because they were his children. He loved them. But she refused, and he has regretted having that DNA test done, and that's been 20 years now. Now for the next story. My husband works from 6 a.m. until 2 p.m. except on weekends. My mother comes to help me between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. Monday to Friday, basically only when he's not home. I have a 3-year-old and 6-month-old twins. I am also struggling with depression. The psychiatrist wanted me to be admitted to the hospital because it's getting so bad, but I didn't want to go because my husband would pack up and leave with the kids. They are currently looking at other options to help me, but are happy with Mum watching over me so I'm not left alone. I'm having intrusive thoughts about hurting myself. My husband is usually quite uninvolved with the kids and spends most of his time in the shed or next door. I have to nag him to help out. He only recently started to change that because it's making him look bad to the services that are helping me. Today, my mum took the kids to my sister's house, as she usually works 7 days and hasn't seen the babies for a few months. My husband came home from grocery shopping with half a bag of items, not even basic milk and bread, and sulked in his shed, then took off unlicensed to I don't know where. He says he feels married to my mother more than me, and it's unfair he doesn't get to see the kids on the weekend. This is the first weekend they're not home. I couldn't get him to work through things because he left. Now I'm wondering who, if anyone, is the idiot. Me for not coping alone, my mum for helping too much, or my husband for being mad at my mum? Now here are the comments. Comment 1. You are not the idiot, and your husband sounds toxic as frick. If he cannot be there to support you mentally, and you are worried about him taking your kids from you while you are seeking treatment, I think the relationship is already over. I would speak to a lawyer ASAP to find out what you can do to make the eventual split fair to you and your kids. It sounds like your mum is the only real support you have. Your husband feels like he's married to your mum more than you are. She is helping you co-parent and help support you mentally. Keep her close and appreciate her because she will be there longer than your husband. Comment 2. Assuming this is an accurate portrayal of the situation, your husband is an idiot. That being said, maybe don't allow the kids to be away during the limited time he could spend with them. I was all ready to be here, like, Mills shouldn't be hanging around much, but you have both a legitimate reason, and she's not even there when he is. Your husband is being absurd, and this from someone who was primed to be on his side, not the idiot. Comment 3. Everyone sucks here. Well, mostly him. His mum should not take the kids without consulting both parents. Aunt seeing her kids is irrelevant here. She isn't entitled to anything. He should stay and discuss his feelings with you, not run off like a child. Plus, you say he doesn't actually parent. You need to discuss that with him. If he acted like your husband and parented, maybe you wouldn't rely on mum so much. Now, for the next story. My fiancé and I are getting married soon. We met in college and have had a wonderful relationship since then, around 7 years ago, navigating life together. When we met, neither of us had ever had a full-time job and had no savings to speak of. We slowly built up our lives together with our first jobs after college. After living together for 2 years, my partner started law school. I quit my job and followed them to their new city, found a new job, was working full-time during those 3 years while doing every chore around the house and running every errand. This was to support a really stressful law school experience. My partner got a scholarship to law school, so no debt, but I covered the vast majority of day-to-day expenses since I was the only one working. After graduating, my partner now has a high-paying job and is working very hard for that salary. We moved again, and now I am working fully remote while maintaining nearly all responsibilities around the house. Their salary is over double what mine is, but I could definitely get by on my own. As we were looking at the legal details of preparing for our wedding, my spouse asked, sort of offhand, whether I thought I'd be entitled to half of their savings in the event of divorce. It seems obvious to me that the answer would be yes, given how much I've contributed to our collective lives. But I hope we never get a divorce. It started a bit of an argument, and since we both have obvious biases, I'm turning to the internet for advice. Am I the idiot? TLDR. As of very recently, and for the first time in our many years together, my future spouse makes far more than me, and now thinks it's unfair that I would want to split our savings down the middle in the event of a hypothetical divorce. I think that this mindset takes for granted how hard I've worked behind the scenes to support them in their career. Edit. For fairness, I'm adding that my future spouse was making about $12,000 during the summers during law school, which was contributed to rent and car payments. I was making about $60,000 during that time. Edit. clarifying that this has nothing to do with current savings. It's about future savings during the marriage. Now, here are the comments. Comment 1. Do you not hear this kind of story all the time, where one partner supports the other through medical or law school, then they get a high-paying job and seem to forget all the support, especially financial, their partner gave them? I've always thought these support people saw their hard work and sacrifice as an investment into the relationship, into them as a couple and a potential family. But really, I don't think they actually think much about it at all. They love this person and are supporting them and don't think beyond that. They are blindsided when the partner decides, my partner is old and boring. I'll get a new, younger, better-looking partner. Look at all the money I'm making. I've worked so hard to get here. This is all mine, and I deserve it all. I don't even know what to say about this partner of yours, OP, but you see it all the time. It's like they don't see the two of you as a team, but as that's yours and this is mine. How do you resolve that, especially if they feel no sense of indebtedness to you? I suppose one way would be to come up with a good estimate of your contributions. Put a price tag on it, including housework. Feels kind of stupid and petty, but if the partner wants to be petty about what's theirs, then so be it. Comment 2. Not the idiot. I feel that since you started out life together from a young age and have worked as a team to be where you are now, then everything is joint. Either you're a team or you're not. You have a lovely chance to go through life as a true team. It's different when people meet later in life and they have assets already and/or children, and some practicality is required, but that's not the case here. ETA. My daughter was in the same situation, but in your husband's position, and she has no problem sharing with her partner as she knows without him, it would have been a lot harder journey to be where she is now. Comment 3. Not the idiot. Don't sign a prenup, and the law awards you half anyway. This is the danger of financially supporting someone during their education without being married. If you were married, the courts would take your support during his training into account and make sure you had a percentage of his future earnings if you were in an alimony state. You seem to be the one making most of the sacrifices in the relationship, and he expects that he'll keep all the gains that you make possible. It might be time to start looking out for yourself because your partner doesn't have your back, like you've had his. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.